And Tiffany, I know through my senior home coach program and group that I am a part of, and I met her in Wichita at the Equip conference, and I'm just so grateful to have yet another resource in my toolbox, if you will,
Hmm.
as we both really work to help seniors.
Yes.
And so, little bit about Tiffany, and then I'll let her really introduce herself. She does own a local mortgage company and kind of a one stop destination for all mortgages. Today, we're going to specifically talk about the reverse mortgage and the reverse for purchase. Now, before you all come after me and, I can't see your comments because I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So before you come at us and start talking scams and scams and scams, can we help dispel a couple of those rumors and maybe provide some information? So anyway, that's a long-winded introduction, Tiffany. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Robin, for having me. And the information that is out there is old and
Yes.
third party. So we always have to do our own homework, especially in our environment right now where the internet runs wild with things that just aren't true and or it's old info.
Right.
So
Right.
accessing your equity through a reverse mortgage is not a bad thing when done strategically and when you take the time to learn about your scenario and how this can help you live out the rest of your days on this beautiful earth.
Well,
So,
and I think that's part of it. It's, one thing to say right off the bat is this is a government-backed loan. It's
yes,
like
it
an
is.
FHA loan or a VA loan or a USD. It's government backed, so it's not Tiffany out here
No,
flinging loans.
no, it is HUD, FHA, HECM, Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. Under
Yes.
that, so many options.
Okay.
So many
That's
options.
and that's some of the things that we want to talk about today. Because I told you as we were hopping on, I'm a little angry. And I'm angry for my clients. They are in a situation. I've got two of them, as a matter of fact, and I have got two folks that are they're in their 70s, and they are looking for work because their Social Security isn't covering all their needs. And they have owned these houses for about 10 years. They're not big, extravagant houses, they're smaller, one-story homes. So it's not, these huge houses. They've got the lower interest rate that they took advantage of a few years ago. So I'm just, and I've talked to them about reverse, and this is their business, and I'm not going to put that all in the street. But what I'm upset about is that people are finding themselves in these situations. And if that is somebody out there listening, or it's you, let's listen for a few minutes and see if some of Tiffany's options might be an answer for you.
Yes, and a lot of people think, again, old school thinking, which, my dad was the same way. My dad literally just did a reverse mortgage for strategic reasons. He did not do it out of a need-based situation like maybe the clients that you're talking about because, they're up against actually selling their house, which is terrible. Especially if they want to stay in their home, it's conducive to aging in place. But there's so many cool options. For instance, like again, strategy. One
Let's talk about a
situation.
strategic. Let's talk, instead of a need, let's talk about strategy and
I
why
love a
this might be a
strategy.
good thing.
So,
Why is it
husband
good?
and wife.
Right?
Wife gets ill, needs to be put in care.
Okay.
Okay, she needs care until she passes away. Well, the care facility that they chose was 50 miles away from their home. So, what they did is they sold their home, did a reverse for purchase 2 miles away from the facility. Husband stayed in the home so that he could visit her every single day.
That's beautiful.
Every day. And he had a plan though. Once she passes, I'm going to sell the home and go live next to my children. It was strategy. that got him what he wanted so that he could care for his wife in the way he wanted to and have the facility that they really had wanted. Because
Because
not
and
all
many
facilities
times
are
you
the
would
same.
think, well, 50 miles away, we can't do that. We
No
can't do
one
that.
should do that. That's too much for
Yeah.
someone to drive every single day. That's 100 miles
Yeah.
back and forth. So this made sense. He's not attached to
Yeah.
his house. It's just a house. He's attached to his
Right.
wife.
Well, and that's probably better.
Yes.
That's probably better.
Yes. So that is just a really cool story that I like to share because you just don't think about something like that.
Right. Well, I think sometimes, we get in, well, and it's just this mode of thinking, and it's not right or wrong, it's just the mode of thinking, right?
Hmm.
Where we say, okay, well, I can't live in my house anymore, so I just have to sell it. Or my wife needs special care, and the best place for her is 50 miles away. But so I guess I have to live here and, drive 50 miles to go see her,
No.
or any number of different scenarios that we just think, well, this is my house, so I have to stay here. Or this is my house, so I just need to sell it and then figure out what to do with that money. And then I've got a house payment and I've got a loan and I've had this house paid off for decades.
Yes.
And now I've got a house payment again. And so everybody just stays in in this vacuum that isn't, and they're unhappy and it's not working for them.
No. And not all reverse mortgages are made the same. So you, again, options. You always own your home. You're on title. You're on the loan. You will never ever get kicked out of your home unless you vacate it for a period of time and don't let the servicer know. There's a lot of things. The main thing is you need to stay in your home and you need to pay your taxes and your insurance. That's it.
That's it. That's
That is
it.
all.
So the reverse part is, while in a regular forward mortgage like I pay on my house,
Hmm.
I'm paying interest every single month on my loan every month. The difference is on a reverse, it's still accruing interest. It's just paid for when you vacate the house later. It's
Yes.
in reverse.
Yes, it's very opposite. So, and of course, we share numbers with our clients and we are very, very transparent. It's awesome because COVID brought us a couple good things. Video chat is one of the good things it brought us. And almost anybody of any age can do video chat.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
is so cool to be able to just share my screen and go over numbers live with
Yes.
clients. Back in the day, you used to mail off this big old packet and be like, hey, sign here. And there's no guidance.
Yeah. Very overwhelming. Loan papers are very confusing, and they can be, I guess fearsome. I mean, I don't know if that's the right word, but you get a stack of paper in the mail 2 inches thick and you go,
No one likes that except a contract attorney. They're all giddy over it.
exactly.
Okay? So, I would love to jump into another story unless you want to go,
Yes.
Sarah, because this
No,
is just a
no.
fun one.
I
This is
love
not
the
a sad one.
stories.
Um,
Okay.
so, I'm going to rename them. Joe and Mary um, lived in town here in California, where I currently am, and they're very active retirees, very active. And their friend calls them. Their friend has a very nice house in Tahoe on the California side, and I'm saying that for a reason. Asterisk. Okay. Now, their friend calls them and says, "Hey, there is this amazing condo down the street from us, and you guys need to move up here." They're like, "Oh, we're not high-end people. We can't live in Tahoe. How do we do that?
We're not that fancy.
We're not that fancy. And we don't want a house payment. We're retired now. We're on fixed income." Well, luckily, their real estate agent had this tool that they brought out of their tool belt, and they said, "If you guys want to do it, I can figure a way to do it. I'm going to put you in touch with Tiffany." Okay. So we're going to sell their house, their primary residence, and we're going to net $500,000.
Okay.
And at the time, they were able to buy $1 million condo with their 500,000. Right now, you need about 650, 700, depending upon age. Okay, market changes. So you need a significant down. That's how this loan works. You have to have significant equity. Cool part is they're buying $1 million condo with their 500,000. They're going to owner occupy, okay, because they love Tahoe all seasons. They do have another house in Arizona, which they're allowed to go to for an extended period of time. Okay?
Okay.
So this
Yes.
is a dream come true for them. But what is cool is they're going to use their money for their down, they're going to get their loan. The kicker is Joe's like, Mary, you know our taxes are going to be about $11,000 on this $1 million condo. You know that, right? And again, me and the realtor are talking. I'm like, no, 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 Prop 19, baby. You need to stay in California side. This is why I told you to stay on the California side. Because when you sell in California and you buy another one in California, and other states are similar, you get your tax base to go with you, a portion of your tax base. So instead of their taxes being $11,000, they were about $5,000.
So because the house that they sold, the tax base was about 5 grand. And so that just 5 grand just moved it right up onto that $1 million
It's a
condo.
calculation that your title rep will
Sure.
actually do for you. So their
Sure.
taxes were about $3,500 on their current home. And then you have to take the difference between what you sold the current home
Sure.
for and the new one. It's a calculation.
It's a calculation. I don't do that math. That's why we
No,
have people that do that.
but it allowed them to
However,
live their best life.
yeah.
How
Yeah.
fun to live in
However,
Tahoe.
well, and then it's also you're surrounding yourself with people that want to help you solve the problem. And it can be a good problem to have, right?
Yes,
We get to move to Tahoe, but we still want to make sure that everything is in our best interest.
yes, and yes. And again, it's not for everybody. But
Right.
when you have a situation and you have a need or you have just this problem that you can't solve, this is when you bring in the friends and the family and go, hey, this is my problem. Who do you know? Because someone that I have educated, you have educated,
Right.
um, in the right manner will go, hey, Tiff said something about this the other day, or Robin mentioned that she just got her friend this really cool house that they didn't think they could afford because they wanted to pay cash.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And a lot of my 62 plus, they sell their home and they want to pay cash.
Right.
Okay, well, did you have to settle in that area so that you could afford to pay cash?
Well, and that's the other thing too, right? So, it's paying cash and no payment is appealing.
Very.
It's very appealing on the surface. Let's use the scenario where you net $500,000 on a house,
Okay.
right? You bought a house a long time ago, values have gone up, and by the time you sell your house and walk away, you've got $500,000 in cash. So
Yes.
do I go and put it all on the house, or does it make sense maybe to get a small, put 300 on the house, get a $200,000 loan, which is going to keep the payment down. But then we're getting a reverse for purchase, and I still have whatever, I forget what numbers I used. But
You have
explain that.
200,000 left.
Yeah, so I've got
So
200,000 left. Do I have to spend that?
So let's be strategic. Let's think about different ways that we could allocate our funds so that we have growth. We make our financial advisor happy. We bring them into the conversation. I may have to educate them because a lot of financial advisors, they poo-poo on reverse mortgages because they don't understand them. The ones that I have sat down with are like, psh, you're kidding me. I can utilize another avenue when my stocks are down and my people don't have to pull out of their stocks while they're on sale, so to speak. So
Right.
it is a beautiful, beautiful tool for our financial advisors anyway. So back on track. Instead of paying cash, you can keep some of that money back, use it as investments, buy another house. Buy
Why
another
on earth
house
do
and
do
rent
I
it
want another
out.
house? Why do I want to do that? I
Rental
mean, I
income,
know
baby.
why. I know why, but tell me why on earth I would want to do that.
Oh, real estate is where you make your money and your legacy is given to your family.
Yeah,
You leave the legacy
exactly.
to your family because houses are going to be there.
So
Um,
here's, because the truth of the matter is, so the idea, right, especially the baby boomers today, you're 65, 70 years old, you bought a house, in whatever, and you raised your kids there and you got it paid off, you bought it 35 years ago, you made those payments, you've been, mortgage free, and you just that's your asset. So why I'm afraid to lose that. I'm afraid to make a bad decision. I'm
mhm.
I'm just afraid.
Yes, yes. And education will just kind of knock down a lot of that fear.
Yeah.
Um, Education, because again, when we get older, even me today, I'm afraid to make a decision on, do I buy a new car? Do I not buy a new car?
She got in a car accident yesterday, folks.
I
That's why.
did. It's rolled
Unfortunately.
around in my head all night. But
Yeah.
the education will knock down your fear. I'm going back to that because fear of unknown.
Yes.
What if I do something wrong? What if you pass away in 2 years and you did not take some time to have fun? What if that would scare
Yeah.
me more than anything? What if
Yeah.
my bucket list is this long and I haven't touched it and I'm 67 years old? That's not cool.
No. And it's a sad thing, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. I've had many friends in the 2024 that were in their 60s that passed away. And when I say many, I mean like seven.
Ooh,
So in their 60s. So we don't know what tomorrow brings. So let's educate ourselves. And that's why, Tiffany and I've had other guests on the show about reverse mortgages because I think it's a tool that people have these assumptions about. I mean, it's not right for me right now. I'm 61. Let's just say I was 62, it wouldn't make sense for me today,
mhm.
but maybe 10 years from now or even 5 years from now, it might.
Well, let me see if I can change your mind because when I turn 62, which will be in 10 years, I'm getting a reverse mortgage on my home. My home should be paid off by then, or my a little tiny bit. But the reason I'm getting it is because I want the line of credit growth factor.
Okay.
I don't want it because it'll bring me money. I don't need income each month. I want it because I want that growth factor on the line of credit, which don't get me started on the cool stuff about a line of credit. It is
Line of
not
credit's
your
a nice.
HELOC. It is not a line of credit that you would go to your regular bank and get, okay?
Right.
Um, it has a growth factor, which is always a 0.5% higher than the actual interest rate that day. To me, so my dad's line of credit is growing about today. I haven't really checked, but last week it was 7% growth factor
Oh.
on $200,000 line of credit.
So it
That's
just hangs out there until you need it.
it just hangs out and just keeps growing. And to me, oh my gosh, never be frozen, and no one can ever take it away from me. My house can be over encumbered. Like my house can dip 50%. And if my line of credit is more than that, I still get my line of credit.
Talk about that. Talk about
Okay.
that. So I've got a reverse mortgage on the house, right?
Mhm.
And I've got $200,000 in that line of credit.
Mhm.
And God forbid the market tanks like it did in 2008, right?
It would have to be
So, I mean,
significant because
it
these
would have,
loans are
yeah,
extremely conservative.
yeah, yeah.
Very.
So it's not something to say, oh my gosh, now I've got this thing and my house isn't going to be worth as much. Although we on the real estate side, we don't see that happening anytime soon.
It would have to dump
Just
almost
yeah,
50%. I
yeah,
mean, it would be a lot.
it would be a lot,
I mean,
especially with the values how they've all increased over the last few years.
yeah.
So there's just
Unless you have
that's a
it for
big
a very
drop.
long time.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a big drop.
Hmm.
So tell me how this line of credit works. It just kind of hangs out there, and if I want to go on vacation or I have a medical emergency,
Or you need a new roof, or you need to customize your house for a wheelchair, or you need to put in a new bathtub, or you want a soaking spa in your backyard that has a wheelchair access.
your
Cool.
money. It's your
Your
money.
and it's your house money. You're
Yeah,
not pulling from your investments.
right. So
Again,
it's
we're
not
talking
coming out
strategy.
of 401ks or stocks or
No,
IRAs or
no.
any of that.
And this is not taxable money because this is a loan.
So it's a loan. So now I vacate my house either through death or I need to go into some sort of senior care.
Yes.
Now what happens?
Now you sell your home just like you
The
would.
bank takes my house. That's what I hear.
Yes, that is what a lot of people hear. Well, the bank doesn't want your house, regardless of what the news or the internet will tell you. They don't want your house. It's not an asset they feel like they want.
No.
However, you sell your home just like you would any other home. So you got a loan for 200,000 and you had it for 20 years and now you owe 400,000 and it's worth 8. Well, now your heirs just made $400,000, or they got to take over they cannot take over the loan, but they can take over the house and refinance and stay in the home if they felt like it. So lots and lots of options as far as once you vacate the home. It's exactly the same as if you have a
It's
traditional
anything
forward
else.
loan or reverse loan.
It's just the balance of everything. So that means that line of credit, that means the balance of the interest, the loan, the whole ball of wax is due upon the sale of the house.
So let's go back to that line of credit. Say I have a line of credit for 200,000 and it's sitting there and I haven't needed it. So it is not something I have to repay back to the bank because I didn't use it. It's still my equity. It's just 200,000 on paper. So I can log in or I can send in an old school piece of paper in the mail and I can say, my dad just did this. I want $70,000. And it was in his bank account within a day or two.
So if I pass away and my heirs are going to either sell or occupy and refinance,
Hmm.
where is that money? Does it get delivered to my estate?
No, it dies with you.
Okay.
It
Okay.
will die with you
Okay.
unless you left a surviving spouse and
Right.
everything was done properly so that surviving spouse can stay in the home. I'm going to bust a myth real quick.
Love a
Um,
good myth buster.
Mythbuster. I need my Mythbuster hat on. I need something to glow like a myth. Um, husband, wife. Husband is significantly older than wife when they get the loan. This is back in the day. It can't happen anymore. We have guidelines. So back in the day, they would take off the younger spouse because you could get more money the older you were. That is still the same. However, you don't take someone off of the loan. Don't do that. If you love them, don't do that. Keep them on. Because when you pass away, everything just transfers to them and they just get to stay in the home. Okay? Um, but what happened is, again, they took the spouse off, the husband passed away, wife got a pink letter in the mail stating, hey, your loan is due. Papa passed away. You know?
Because the person on the loan has to remain living and occupy the home.
Yes. Tiny little guidelines with this loan. So that is extremely stressful and that will irritate any family member. And that is why that
Sure.
myth needs to be busted.
Well, yeah, because we needed to take mom off so that they could have more money, and then dad died and she got thrown out of the house.
She literally got thrown out of the house. And that is, yes. And that is what happens unless she could refinance or qualify on her own to do another reverse.
And this is why I say all the time, who you work with matters. It
Yes.
matters. And whether it's a real estate agent, whether it's a loan officer, whether it's a moving company, whether it's an electrician, it doesn't matter who it is, but who you work with matters, because you want to make sure that they have your best interests at heart. And it's about you, the client and consumer, not them, the loan officer or realtor.
Yes. And again, everything's customizable, so we have to listen to what you want. Listen to what you're saying to us. What is important that you might not be saying that we hear? This happens all the time, specifically with my 62 plus clientele. A gal that is getting ready to do her counseling. By the way, this loan requires counseling over the phone. So it's not all me telling you about the loan. It is a third party HUD approved person on the phone talking to you between 45 minutes and an hour, going through everything with you.
So if a less than, not Tiffany, but if a less than ethical person were trying to pull some shenanigans on a couple of older folks, it should come out during this phone conversation counseling.
Yes. And, they talk about some things that I'm not sure they should talk about, but you know what? It makes the client feel happy. They literally dive into your income, they dive into your debt, they make sure that you are a fit for this loan.
And again, not all products are for everybody.
No.
Right? That's like saying every house out there should work for every person, and that's just not so.
Well, and we also want to protect them not just against their loan officer or someone that's a little bit shady, but a family member, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because there are some guidelines set in place so that, let's say you're going to get, $100,000 out. Well, that money, some of it you may not be able to get out for 12 months, because we have seen the damage that getting too much money upfront in one lump sum does for you. And they've put some hard stops in there so that the loan itself does not get abused.
Well, and so that, and as sad as it is, we hear about it every day where people are taken advantage of, and there are scams, and sometimes people, and I'm going to say it, their own family members, their children, their nephews, their nieces, whomever it may be, sometimes those people are not as ethical as we might want them to be, and they put pressure on someone that, just wants to help.
Well, and money does funny things to people.
It does.
And when we're talking about messing with their inheritance, we have to have long, hard conversations about that, and mom and dad need to, talk to family members if that is an issue. And we do bring them in and go, okay, mom and dad are struggling, and this will fix that, but you're worried about your inheritance. Okay, so the answer to that is, all right, you guys can band together and give mom and dad an extra $1,000 every month. That'll solve the problem. Do you all want to give mom $1,000 every month? Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Well, mom's eating top ramen. You know what I mean? It's not cool.
It's not cool, because the house, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, a house it's ours to make sure we can take care of ourselves for the rest of our lives. And should there be $1 or $2 left over when I'm gone, have at it.
Sliding into home.
But in the meantime, I want to make sure that I'm not eating ramen noodles. I want to make sure my health needs are cared for. I don't want to live in a hovel. I want to be able to live in a style in which I want to. I've worked a long time.
Well, and again, you need to live your best life. The gal I'm talking to, I don't know how she's doing it. She's robbing Peter to pay Paul to pay all of her credit cards. Her taxes are late. I've seen it on her prelim. Her insurance on her home is due, and she lives in a fire zone. She needs to make sure her insurance is paid. because her house is paid for, so she doesn't, quote, have to keep insurance if she doesn't
Right,
want to.
right.
But good Lord, she should.
In California today? Oh my goodness.
In the hills.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Yeah.
uh, she, and she's worried, poor little thing. She's worried that the appraiser's going to come in and realize that she's not a good housekeeper.
Oh, bless her heart. Yeah, there's a lot of that too. Nobody cares.
And I, and these are things that don't you come across. And I
Yeah.
want your listeners to know that it's okay. The bigger picture is so much more, because I need you to
Yeah.
live your best life. This
Yeah.
poor woman is strategizing how to pay her bills every month with $2,500. Like, that's all. And she's got all these bills, and the house needs a tiny bit of work because she can't do laundry anymore without dripping it. It's a thing.
Just all the things, right? It's all the things.
It's a thing. And
And
I'm like, just get your counseling done, baby, so we can get going. And she's just spinning about this appraisal thing.
okay, I'm gonna send you a housekeeper. Where do I Venmo the money? And we'll have somebody go clean this house so this woman doesn't, doesn't lose
Yes,
her house and
yes,
doesn't lose the
yes,
asset, over
yes, because
dirty
I just need her
dishes.
to pay her insurance.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
this is,
well, and that's so heartbreaking. That kind of stuff just is just it gets me. It gets
yes,
me.
yes. So again, this is not just for the people that need it, although it is very helpful. Oh my gosh, it just the brick on your chest every day, or when you go to write your checks out, is lifted.
Yeah.
It's lifted.
Yeah.
Some people weren't, maybe they had to help a family member and they had to put a loan on their house. Maybe they had a good plan, and something funky happened to them, a life event that they could not get around. This
And
might
that
help you.
happens to us all the time, right? Regardless of age, a life event can happen. And
Yes.
imagine if it's hard enough at 35, 45. Imagine 75 and that life event happens and you're not capable of just going and making more money.
No. At that point, you're not. Um,
Yeah.
and even if you get a job, you're not making significant money to
Right.
eat away at whatever that was. So let's live the rest of our 25 years in a happy place instead of stressing out about it, and just let's breathe. Let's go on a cruise. Let's put the new roof on. Let's fix the septic system if we need to.
Let's make that bathroom accessible so that we are not trying to climb in a bathtub and risking falling.
Or let's
Let's,
sell a two-story that no one has been upstairs for 2 years.
or the only shower is upstairs and you're
Ooh,
taking what I call a bird bath in the kitchen sink
yes.
because you can't get upstairs to take a shower. See, these are all the things that sometimes we don't think about, and maybe it doesn't occur to them that this could be an issue, right? You are 65 and you are just fine in a two-story home,
Hmm.
but then something happens, you fall, my knees hurt all the time. So, at what point is going upstairs going to be, if not a challenge, an actual obstacle?
Yes. Yes. And I do talk to them about their living situation. Um, Angle of a driveway. Can you get your trash cans up and down? It's a
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, it's all the little, and the trash cans, the driveway, those sorts of things are things that we just don't think about, right? We say, well, that's a one-story house, but as you mentioned earlier, is the doorway wide enough for a walker
Hmm.
or a wheelchair? Probably
Hmm.
not for a wheelchair,
Yes.
depending on when that house was built.
Hmm.
Are there thresholds, right, where the wheelchair can't get over or the walker can't? Is there carpet? Is there this? Is there that? I mean, it's just so many things, and we all want everyone to age in place. People look at me like, Robin, you're a realtor. You want to sell houses. I do. And yet, you and I both want people to live in the home of their choice
Yes.
for as long as they possibly can.
Well, and again, somebody with that 500,000 that's going to go settle. Let's say the prices in your area are very expensive, so they have to move out of the area they're used to. They move away from their church and their dentist and their friends because they want to pay cash. Well, if the area they want to live in is maybe 700,000 and you have 5, we're buying that $700,000 home. Let's not relocate our
Yeah.
entire world just because we think we need to pay cash and that's the only thing that we can afford.
See, I think that's the crux of it right there. I think that is the well, we've got to pay cash. I don't want a house payment. I don't want to take out a loan. I can't get a loan. My credit's going to be bad. I'm 72 years old. I haven't worked in 7 years, and I'm a little behind on a couple of things, and the house needs a new roof et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so they don't think they can do anything, that they're just going to need to sell the house and go pay cash for something.
Yes, and move to an area that is affordable to them.
Yeah. And that may be out of their comfort zone, right? Like
And
you
it may
said,
be, again,
away from their
family and
doctors
friends.
and family and friends and their activities.
Yes.
And I mean, moving out of your house is disruptive enough. Moving to an area where it's just completely foreign just adds to that anxiety. And if there are tools out there, and there are,
Mhm.
to maybe help eliminate some of that stress, some of that fear, some of that, just the angst of it all,
Mhm.
then let's at least explore it.
Raise your hand. Say, I heard about this horrible loan, but I want to know more.
And you know what? It's okay to call it a horrible loan, because clearly she likes to be a myth buster. So,
And because you hear, again, it's just so many things. One of a main gentleman out there that educates people on their finances poo-poos all over it, even though the woman that called in clearly needed help, and his answer was sell your home, get a rental, and go work at Walmart. And I went, why?
call
She
in
didn't even have any
right this-
kids. I was like, whoa, dude, you are way off.
And I know who you're talking about, and I think he's a way off on a lot of things. Here's the thing, the thing about this sort of conversation is this isn't it's not a be all end all for everybody,
No.
right? It may not work for somebody for whatever reason, your needs, your desires, your situation, I don't know. However, regardless, you should call somebody and ask all the questions.
Yes. I'll send you a book. I've got a book. If any of your listeners want a real book written by a reverse mortgage specialist, and the people that helped him write it are financial advisors, things like that. So we've got them for financial advisors, home buyers, realtors. Good read.
Yeah. What's the name of that book?
We have
Here's
it.
the challenge. What's the name? I have it right there.
Yes. Oh, you know what? That's funny. So my car, which
to the
just
car.
got boo-booed last night,
Yeah.
has all my books in it because I'm getting
Yeah.
ready to do a mailing. So
That's okay. But find the name of it, send it to me. We'll put it in the show notes and all that good stuff. Because
I will.
if they don't want to call you for it, then we'll just show them how they can get a copy themselves. And, then they can do that. Because, again, education is key on anything.
Yeah.
On any
It's
of
all
this.
about Understanding Reverse is one of the books from Dan Holtquist, and he's
Okay.
been around a very long time. So it just kind of breaks it down. It's a very cool read. Highlight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll send it
Okay.
out. Maybe your listeners.
All
want
right.
it.
Well, Tiffany, what did we not talk about? Is there, if somebody was sitting here and you could whisper in their ear, what would you want to say or for them to know about all of this?
If you are not currently living your best life, talk to someone like me that specializes in reverse mortgages, not someone that dabbles in them.
That's a true statement.
Okay?
That's a true statement.
Because there, our goal is not to put you in a situation 20, 25 years down the road. So we have to look at all angles for you, and we're here to protect you under the umbrella of this loan. But we also want you to live your best life. So we explain good, bad.
Think with anything. Explain the good, explain the bad. Here's the upside, here's the downside on everything. And then it's up to an individual to choose are they willing to accept some of the downside so that they can have that upside?
Yes. And again, when I talked to my financial advisor, he didn't know much about it. He's highly
Yeah.
educated now. And he is a better financial advisor for it now.
Right.
Because
right.
now he can add this avenue to his client base. Whereas before, he knew about it, rolled around in his head, but he just didn't know the super cool things that could balance out his money that he manages, as well as their equity in their home.
Yeah.
So.
And that's kind of it's the equity in your home. That is your money.
Mm-hmm.
And let your house pay for itself, or at least pay for the next house. Let's make sure we're using that money that your house is generating, because it is. We refinanced our house so many times because I'm like, the house can buy the air conditioner. I'm not buying an air conditioner. The house can buy it. And you just use that money because it's yours.
Yes. And that money is just sitting there. Your equity is sitting there, doing nothing for you. It has no growth factor.
Right. It's not growing.
It's not with your financial advisor.
And it has a potential or a possibility to go down. Because if the market goes down or something changes, now you had $200,000 in equity and now you have $150,000. You just lost 50 grand because you didn't do anything with that money. So
if you had the line of credit attached to it, that would still be in place at our high prices right now. The longer you wait, the less money you will have to do whatever it is you want to do. That's why I am doing mine at 62.
Well, and this is why I bring people on that know more about. I know enough to kind of get me in trouble, and I know where that stopgap is. So that's when I go, all right, here's what I think you should do. You should look into it. You should go ask some questions.
Yeah.
Here are the people to call, and come back to me when you guys decide if this is what you want to do.
Yes.
Because I'm not going anywhere, and I want you to be in the right place for all of it.
Yes. We hit on a lot of things. If you're listeners or you guys have any more questions, you're more than welcome to reach out. All my socials going to be on there.
Well, yes, we are going to put all Tiffany's stuff and everything. She also has a podcast it's called, remind me again. It's
Retirement Reimagined.
Yeah, I knew it was Retirement something, and all of a sudden it was blanking.
Yes.
Retirement Reimagined. So go ahead and search that on your favorite podcast channel, Spotify, Apple, whatever it is you do. Go find that and, and just educate yourself as we roll into these ages. Like I said, I'm 61 years old. I can't believe it, but I am. And as these years roll by, all of a sudden we're starting to think and consider different things. And so I just think it's important. You're 51, 52, so 10 years, you know what you're doing.
I do.
And so maybe if you are the adult children of someone, maybe you start thinking about some of these things. Start researching today, because you don't know what's going to happen between now and then. So
yes, adult children are always wanting to be there for their family members, but if you have to give your mom $1,000 every month, that's taking from your children or your investments, your household income, when there's equity sitting in the home.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. The money's there. So
the money's there.
Anyway, we can go on and
you
just got to go get it. You just got to get it.
Yeah.
Well, we could sit here and say this
Yeah,
all
we
day
could.
long. So, so I want to thank you, Tiffany, for being on the show. I learn so much every time I talk about this, and I talk about it a lot because I think it is an option for many of my clients. And so, thank you so very much.
You're
If
welcome.
you have any questions, we are going to have all of Tiffany's information so that you can reach out to her. I thank you guys for tuning in to Relax I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Make sure you subscribe, follow, do all the things, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, Robin.
Thanks. Let's let all this render and do its thing. I think